I started really as a clarinetist, and I had to change the piano because I realized that my mind was harmonic rather than melodic in a way. So I thought, no, the clarinet's not enough for me as a musician. I don't know. Um, so I changed the piano. But clearly that shows that what I was interested in was the music and not the instrument itself, because I have a lot of friends. I mean, I went to the Royal College of Music to study, to do a piano degree. So I am a capable pianist, but a lot of my friends I see love the instrument itself. They love playing, they love practicing and spending time with the instrument. Whereas for me, it was just an excuse to make music, you know? And when I was very young, and already I was bored with the pieces that I was performing, that I was learning. And so doing my own thing was an excuse to stop practicing, really. So I think that's how it came about. Obviously, when that happens, it means that you clearly have something to say. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen, I guess. I was 15 when I realized that if to do the baccalaureate, the last 2 years in Spain, I would have had to do a lot of subjects and barely had any time for my music. And I knew from previous students in my school that in London that wasn't the case. There was a school called the Purcell School, who allowed you to make music as your priority, and you know the subjects that you studied. And then I realized actually that's how it works in all of the UK. You know, you only have 3 or 4 A levels, but you know that didn't take much work, so I really could focus on composition. So I entered the school as a composer, and then shifted to joint study composition and piano because of my piano teacher I really liked, and he was an inspiration for me. And I think that's where I became a musician. It was at the Purcell School. Now I see it. It was a clear change, you know. At the end of my degree, I realized that it had been a great thing to do piano because it provides you with all the tools that a musician needs, I think, you know, and really you can't get away with practicing very little. With some instruments, I'm not saying that some instruments are easier, I'm just saying the amount of practice, the amount of hours that you need to put in just to learn the music. For piano, there are the instruments, harp, but all the sort of harmonic instruments, you just learning the notes is so many hours. So there was that, so that's all the perseverance and that, and knowing the harmony, learning the harmony because you're playing it, and dealing with that, and singing out the melody, which is hard for a pianist because you have a decay. There's no sustain. You can't do a crescendo in one note. You need to sort of believe that you're getting louder from note to note, and you're not. I didn't see myself being a concert pianist at all. So then I started looking for degrees because it was fourth year, and I see all these people that they jump from degree to degree, and it's an endless, path in the education system until they start teaching. So I thought, oh well, I don't really want to do that, but I should do a master's. And that's how I was just looking. I think that's how I ended up in Valencia doing this masters in composing for film, TV, and video games at Berklee College of Music in the Valencia campus, because it was just 1 year. They liked me, they gave me money, and I felt like I wanted to go back to Spain for a bit. So I did that, and that's where I learned everything. The opportunities are so great, and in fact, the end of year opportunity you get is to record at air, and that's what that recording is. So you you compose a sort of 3-minute piece, 3-minute cue that gets recorded by all these live musicians, and that you need to conduct yourself. So the whole year is a preparation for that. So we had about 5-6 remote sessions with the Budapest Art Orchestra.
Okay, wow.
So we'd have to do all the process. You know, in the film industry, it gets broken down to many bits, but in school we had to do all of it. So from the initial mock-up and piano sketch mock-up to score editing, preparing all the parts, sending that, mixing it when we got it back, you know, well, producing it in the remote sessions and mixing it at the end. So just doing all of that taught me a lot, I feel. And we had to do that, as I say, 5 or 6 times. And on top of that, we got orchestration, which I had done before, but this was different because each week a musician from the Palau de las Arts in Valencia, from the opera, the orchestra there, would come and present their instrument, and then we'd have to write a little piece for them. And they would come the next week and play the pieces and give us comments. And then the next musician would come and present their instrument, and then we'd write music for that. So we went through, you know, from the piccolo to the double bass, we did all of it. And then at the end of a section, so when we'd covered all the woodwinds, then we'd do an ensemble recording that we conducted there with the musicians we'd worked with. So it's a really nice idea to do that. And we got some conducting as well, again, in preparation for London. All was designed to prepare you for the final recording. London musicians are excellent to me. You know, once you've tried London, you don't really go back. And what you were saying about, I'm too much of a chicken to make it in London, I don't think of it like that. I know it's risky because I might never make it, but I'd rather be a small fish in a big pond than a big fish in a small pond. Well, I don't know that that's what it means, actually, because, and that's one of the things that Lucio, one of our teachers in Spain, he's very happy, he's very successful composer in Spain, Argentinian. He said, not all of you will end up in Hollywood, but also not all of you will want to end up in Hollywood, because it is a horrible world for some people, honestly. And I'm not just the life. I mean, if you're successful, then your life will be pretty good. But also, you will have to make a lot of compromises musically, I think, and that's what he was getting at. If you make it, or you get a good opportunity, but it's a box standard film, action film, you'll be writing that music. You know, you'll be writing those cues. Yeah. There's no room for exploration. I do think that I would feel a bit limited, probably, in Hollywood. Depends what your experience is. If you once you've made it, then your sound is the sound that they look for, and you've now changed the current, the other. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Of the film music scene, and that would be great. And that's what I think Hans Zimmer has done. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that now all the music he does fits the film perfectly, but they want his they want his music. Yeah. So if that happened, I wouldn't say no. I'd move to LA in a heartbeat. But I think that a lot happens in different levels. That it doesn't mean it's less quality. It's just a different audience. Documentaries. There's a lot of documentaries going on here that are very interesting and that would allow. There's less music involved, less money, but allow for more room for the composer. So I don't know. I'll have to see. You can ask me in 10 years' time. See where I am. This is very odd. You're gonna think I'm nuts, but it's this blah score for the 6th Harry Potter film, I think. No one's paid attention to it, I don't think, except me. But I really like it. I like how he took the themes, John Williams themes, and he did his own thing and added to it. And I love this blah. So, but I really like that particular soundtrack. I'd have to say Jacob Collier. Yeah. Sometimes I find him a bit too much, but then I think, but actually, my admiration is bigger than my concern for it being too much. So I just gonna applaud him and be amazed and love him. Yeah. It's great. I don't know how he does it, and I mean I know the guy, and he's a very special person. So that's why. But he always amazes me, everything he does. So I do love Digital Performer, and it changed the way I do music in that with film it allowed me to be much more precise with where I wanted things to happen. And I know that's very technical, but the tempo mapping is amazing, and that's maybe not how I do music. So if I had to say another piece of software that changes the music, would be this crappy piece of software called Paul's Extreme Sound Stretch. It's amazing. You drop any sort of music and it stretches it by, I don't know, like 20, 40, 60 times, okay?
Okay, granular synthesis.
Yes, but the result is so organic, actually. It doesn't create any artifacts. So it creates, with something that can be very jolly and whatever at first, it creates this amazing sort of soundscape very quickly. You just drop it in and it... So sometimes with samples, you have to have tricks. Most of the time I smother them with reverb or something. But with this, you can just do... You think, I don't know, I'll do some pattern with a harp or whatever that's not very interesting. Drop it in, and it creates this 2-minute atmosphere that you can just use and then layer it with other stuff, with that same harp interacting with the stretch version or with whatever. But that's a tool that I use all the time, this stretch, Paul's Extreme Sound Stretch. Yeah, it's great. It was so stupid that it wasn't part of my career. So at the end of Purcell, I applied to study linguistics and Italian at Oxford. And it's not like thinking back, what was I thinking? It was like, as I was doing the interview, I thought, what the fuck? And they actually said, so you're Spanish, and you're in a specialist music school. I mean, it's known for the music, full stop, Purcell. And you want to do linguistics in Italian. So why? And at that point I just thought, yes, I don't know. We might as well just end this interview now. And I didn't get in. So that was telling. Yeah. But in my mind I was already saying bye. Well, ciao.